Hello and welcome to TTG's webinar with Malaysia Airlines and Sarawak Tourism. I am Maddie Barber, the Special Project Editor at TTG Media, and I'm joined today by Daniel Bainbridge, who is Regional Manager for the UK and Europe for Malaysia Airlines. And I'm also joined by Shahzad Datu Saleh Askor, who is CEO at the Sarawak Tourism Board. So thank you both very much for joining me today.
Hello.
Thank you.
During this webinar, we're going to be giving you an airline update, which is going to include current routes and frequency, testing requirements, when the borders might reopen, as well as the carrier's summer schedule and its commitment to sustainability. We're also going to be giving you destination highlights and key selling points that include how the Tourist Board is promoting sustainable tourism, all the cultural attractions, outdoor adventures, wildlife experiences, food, activities and festivals available in the destination as well. And we'll be sharing a short video to bring some of the outdoor adventures to life. So Dan, I'm going to come to you first to ask about Malaysia Airlines. What routes are you operating at the moment? Are you at full capacity and how frequent are the flights?
So Maddie, the good news is we are continuing our flights between London and Kuala Lumpur. We're the only airline offering direct flights between the UK and Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and it's an excellent gateway into Malaysia. We've continued flying throughout the pandemic. At present, we're only operating a weekly service every Friday, which departs in the morning. But the good news is that from the beginning of the winter schedule at the end of October, we will increase that to 2 flights a week. And then from January, that increases to 5 flights a week. And then from April, that goes up to a daily flight. So for those customers and agents planning trips, holidays, etc., the connections as we certainly move later this year and into next year, become much, much better, which is very, very good news.
Okay, great. And what testing requirements do you have in place at the moment, if any at all?
So obviously, as the airline operating, we adhere to all the local government regulations in the UK and Malaysia and the countries that we travel to. There are no specific testing requirements that we as an airline insist upon. All passengers continue to wear masks on board, and cabin crew adhere to personal protective equipment, and we look after sort of safety and hygiene measures quite significantly on board, but we don't have a specific testing requirement at the present time, and it's very, very much subject to change. As you know, we may get announcements this week. Malaysia is on the amber list, so fully vaccinated travellers from the UK can return with only a PCR test and a negative lateral flow test before coming back into the UK, although we may get obviously changes on that this week, which we're waiting to hear about.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know that Malaysia isn't currently accepting travellers from the UK. Do you have any insight or have any predictions about when the borders may reopen for us?
Well, this is obviously a big question on the thoughts of every traveller wanting to get to Malaysia and travel agents looking to sell to Malaysia. I think the latest consensus that we have is we're optimistic there may be an opportunity to open the borders later this year. Langkawi is just starting a domestic travel bubble to allow domestic travellers to visit, and that starts this week, September. And obviously we'll be watching that closely. You know, without wanting to sort of commit to specific dates, it may be optimistically possibly November, possibly December. The key thing is that we will be ready as the airline with capacity and plans in place as and when those borders open. And we know from our experience of other destinations that as soon as borders do announce opening, there is generally quite a significant rush to book and to travel. And we have a large pent up demand of traveller types looking to get to Malaysia and book trips as soon as those borders open. So we look forward to the news that will come in due course.
Great, thanks. And Shahzad, I just wanted to ask if you have anything to add to that about when the borders may reopen and how you plan to make that happen in Sarawak.
Wow, that's $1 million question, Madeline. But as usual, we are looking forward to that because I must say that I have to applaud my state government as well as the Malaysian government that has looked into it and make sure that we will be moving towards the endemic stage, and with that the state of Sarawak has done a wonderful job when it comes to vaccination, with the full adult vaccination at about 88.8%. So people will feel safe, and with that vaccination very high in that percentage, we feel more confident opening. I wouldn't say the exact date, but it has indicated that something very positive is coming for the borders to be open and all. So we look forward. We are ever ready. For the past nearly 2 years, we have been working hard to get things ready, and now we can't wait to welcome every visitors to come to Sarawak.
Lovely, thank you. And Dan, I just wanted to ask about Malaysia Airlines' main marketing messages at the moment. I mean, is there anything agents should have on their radar when they're selling your flights at the moment?
So I think the key things, Maddie, and we've spoken before about the reassurance message, about safety protocols, that it's, all the initiatives that Malaysia Airlines is doing to keep customers and travellers safe. But I think, more so at the moment while borders are closed, we're continuing to look to inspire travellers to book for the future. We know that borders will open at some point. We know that demand will be there. We know that we, as an airline, serve a magnitude of absolutely wonderful destinations, and working closely with our partners and Sarawak Tourism, for example. The key is to sort of educate the market and educate the trade at a time when maybe booking activity is slightly more subdued, to the wonderful destinations and plan for the future. And I think from a leisure market perspective, let's not forget that there's many customers in the UK who've not been able to go overseas, not being able to book that holiday, maybe for 1, maybe for 2, possibly for 3 years. And the demand to get away and go somewhere wonderful is very, very strong. And for us, all the ingredients that Malaysia and the various different areas of Malaysian markets we serve is absolutely perfect. We've got wonderful nature, we've got glorious beaches, fantastic food, great infrastructure in terms of hotels, in terms of attractions, very friendly people. It's a really, really wonderful country to visit. And that's partly why we're here today, to remind people of what the destination has to offer, and help educate the trade on parts of Malaysia maybe they're less familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to talk a bit about sustainability today. Now, I know Malaysia Airlines is committed to being carbon neutral by 2050, which is fantastic. But you're able to talk us through a little bit more about how you're going about that and how it's going, as well as any other sustainability initiatives that you might have running?
Yeah, I mean, this is such a key topic at present, and will become increasingly more so as we proceed with the current sort of climate crisis that's happening. So, it's something that we take very, very seriously. We recognise that customers, businesses that buy from us, are increasingly look to purchase from brands which are sustainable. So we've launched a sustainability blueprint, which is very, very exciting. We're planning to be fully carbon neutral by 2050. And there's a number of initiatives that I can share with you that we're undertaking at the moment, which are fascinating, of ways that as an airline we can reduce waste and reduce our carbon footprint. So one of the things that we're doing at the moment is a biocomposting initiative. So as you're probably aware, there's a lot of food produced on aircraft, a lot of passenger meals, and a lot of those are not always fully consumed, or there's leftover products. So one of the things that we're doing is helping customers choose the meal that they want. So they can pre-order the meal, so we have to load less food on board in order for there to be less wastage. But the other thing that we're doing is we're committing to reducing the food waste by 25%. And there's a really, really great innovative program. We've partnered with a local Malaysian company to convert this food waste into animal feed. And we use that using an insect called the black soldier fly larvae, which is absolutely fascinating. So we're utilising local technology, local initiatives to help break down this food waste into a reusable product. And so far, we've converted about 8,000 kilos of food waste into fertiliser, which can then be reused locally. So it's a great innovative initiative to help us reduce waste, reduce our carbon footprint, and be a more responsible organisation. But we haven't stopped there. There's other initiatives that we're doing as well. So, for example, we've installed solar panels across our main offices in Kuala Lumpur, and that will take off about 2,000 tonnes of CO2 a year. And by 2050, we estimate that that's the equivalent of taking around about 12,000 cars off the road, or the planting of about 933,000 trees. And that's just from placing large solar panels across our large offices over in Kuala Lumpur. Another thing that we're doing is the Scrap to Fab initiative. So utilising waste products or waste from aircraft in terms of the hard things, the aircraft or engineering pieces. We've encouraged the staff to come up with creative ideas to use that waste to convert it into arts and crafts that can then be reused and resold. So again, it's taking products that are no longer required and just literally using the skills and expertise and enthusiasm of our employees and staff and creating those into wonderful arts and crafts. And it's again, it's a simple, a really, really simple, low technology solution, but one which helps minimize that waste. And I think the last element I was just going to reference is around fuel burn. So, fuel is a significant part of the airline's cost, and also arguably a significant portion of CO2 emissions. So one of the things that we're doing is using more high-tech technology to reduce that fuel burn. So using data analytics to really look at the way that our aircraft taxi. Can they taxi on one engine, for example? Can they take more appropriate flight paths? And using that, and that's been successful in reducing our fuel burn by about 15% over the last couple of years. So I think those are just some of the initial initiatives that we're doing at the moment. But this is very much an emerging space, and we are very much committed to becoming carbon neutral by 2050. And I think we're speaking to suppliers about more recyclable goods that we can have on board, reducing waste, reducing plastic. And for people who are in this space, it's a very exciting time because there is a lot of opportunity to improve the take-up of waste and improve our carbon footprint. And as we say, we want customers and consumers in the trade to be confident that when they are booking Malaysia Airlines and they're choosing Malaysia Airlines, they can book with confidence that we are an airline which takes our sustainability responsibility very seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's fantastic to hear you're doing so much and attacking the issue from all angles, which is obviously the most important thing. So it's great. Thank you. Shahzad, I just wanted to ask about Sarawak Tourism and what you guys are doing towards promoting sustainable or responsible tourism.
Okay. So Madeline, I think I'd like to start first and foremost, basically with the Ministry of Tourism and the state's vision of creating a more structured manner in terms of sustainability. We also are part and parcel of a global destination sustainability index. We're one of the first states in Malaysia, to look into these areas, where we have now put the first phase, Kuching, the capital of Sarawak, as a destination in GDSI, yeah. And I think by doing that, it is more structured. We hope we reach out to all our stakeholders and therefore make them understand what that is. This is also in alignment with our master blueprint of tourism and the state's master plan. So I think in that way, we are managing it structurally and organize it where all players will be involved. As you know, sustainability has to be involved, for everybody to make it work. Yeah, and for Sarawak Tourism Board, with the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, with that 17 SDG, the Sarawak Tourism Board focused on 3 SDG, which is SDG 4, SDG 12, and SDG 17. Yeah. So basically, I'm proud to say that with Sarawak Tourism Board, we ramp out our activities in the year 2019. I don't know, I'm quite sure you have heard about our infamous Rainforest World Music Festival, and this reached out to about 400,000 viewers, and, where we had done that virtually. So in 2019, when it was still a physical concert, we used this platform to educate people, to make people understand what responsible tourism is all about. And this is the way that we want to reach out our stakeholders, yeah. And during that concert, we have things like encouraging them to use reusable what should I say, reusable drinking bottles, rather than a single bottle. We also had water fill station so that people can refill it with which is free. We encourage them to make sure we manage the waste management of the vendors, so that we are able to collect it and therefore recycle it. Okay. One of the things that we are also very proud is educating the low income, i.e. reaching out to the longhouses, okay, which is at the rural area. And in Sarawak, we have about 46 registered licensed longhouse homestays. So we have reached out 23 of that and teaching them what waste management is all about, educating them to plant the soap nuts so that they can create their own soap. And by doing that, they are empowered to get the benefits of the economic gains from it by selling the soap, looking into the hygiene factor of it. And this program, I must say that we managed to reach about 37,000 plus households, and this is going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to do. And it's supposedly starting next month onwards, we're going to reach out another group of longhouses and all. So this is part and parcel of it. One of the other things that we're doing is that we're reaching out the stakeholders through webinar, talking to them about the best practices and so forth, so that we can teach them and make them understand what responsible tourism is all about. And this will be an ongoing thing, workshops and so forth. So I feel that, focusing from an STB perspective with 3 SDG, focusing on areas that we want to educate people, ensuring the production and consumption and all that, it will help. And in addition to that is collaborating with our partners. It's not just about STB, it's collaborating with our partners so that we can reach out a bigger number of people that we want to make them understand what responsible tourism. So it's not just about STB, but I also believe that because it's driven by the state government in itself and also by the ministry, this will help pull together the stakeholders, and you need to have all of them working in line with what our dreams and vision. And I think by then, we hope in about 10 years to 15 years, we will reach the goals that we would want to achieve. So I think STB is proud to be part and parcel of this exciting journey that we're going through when it comes to responsible tourism.
Amazing, thank you. Yes. Now, I know some agents that are watching might not be that familiar with Malaysia. They might not have sold a lot of the destination before. So can you just give us an overview of where exactly Sarawak is and how visitors would travel there from Kuala Lumpur, obviously once they've flown in with Malaysia Airlines?
Sure. I'm proud to say, being a Sarawakian, we are one of the 13 states of Malaysia, we're located, between, where Singapore is, everybody knows where Singapore is. It separates the peninsula, the South China Sea separates it, and we are at the 3rd largest island in the world, Borneo. Okay, knowing where Borneo is, look at it's everywhere in Wikipedia, it's in encyclopedia, it's an interesting place to come, and therefore we have a population of 2.9 million. Which is very low with the largest state, and therefore you're looking at, especially with the pandemic and all that, you would want to have low density, and this is not going to be a crowded place, lots of green lungs, lots of places to see with great nature and all. And, this is something that I like to say is that for those who are not familiar where Borneo is, if you go through Kuala Lumpur, it takes you from Hong Kong about 3 hours. If you're from Japan, it's about 6 hours. If you're from Indonesia, 2 hours. And if you're from Singapore, it takes about an hour. So I think it is very interesting, especially with Malaysia Airlines, great flights to Sarawak. Before the pre-COVID time, I think we had more than 115 flights a week to Sarawak. In Kuching itself is about 66 flights a week. So the frequency is there, and we hope it will be greater and more, then, once the borders are open, and then hopefully that makes it more convenient for a lot of visitors all over. And, the hub is the point of entry, main entry point is from Kuala Lumpur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. Dan, did you have anything to add to that from Malaysia Airlines perspective on flights?
Only to say that it's a very, very easy transit at Kuala Lumpur International to get over to Sarawak and to Kuching. Flights are a little bit more limited at present, but as we move into next year when borders are opening, we'll have a much more significant schedule, and the connections are very, very easy. It's literally a short hop across the sea, as it were, from Kuala Lumpur.
Great, thanks. Okay, so Shahzad, I know that Sarawak Tourism Board has 5 topics that you focus on with your marketing. So I wanted to talk a little bit about those. I know that the first is culture. So I wanted to ask, what does your destination have to offer visitors that are looking for a cultural holiday?
Okay, so in a nutshell, we have 5 pillars, which stands for CANFF: culture, adventure, nature, food, and festival. That's how we want. But we know for sure when we reach out to our agents in London, in Europe, the 2 aspects of it, the cultural experience and the nature, is very close to them. Yeah, the eco aspect is very, very something that they love to see. So with CANFF, Sarawak Tourism Board has been promoting that basically because we have 27 ethnic groups. With 45 language. Can you imagine what it means when you break it down to the CANFF? Multi offerings that we can offer to all our agents and all. It gets more exciting when you love the nature. You have about 46 national parks, 15 nature reserves, and 5 wildlife sanctuaries. Okay, then in itself is very, very exciting because we also have a UNESCO heritage site, which I think that is a must to go, and it's just fantastic where you see thousands of bats at a certain time. And then we are also in the midst of submitting to the UNESCO Creative Network, where we are putting Kuching as a city of gastronomy, as well as the World Craft City has been acknowledged. Kuching has been acknowledged as a World Craft City. So, with all the 26 ethnic groups, you can imagine the handicraft, you can imagine the food, you can imagine the diversity that you can find in Sarawak. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. And obviously it's a natural destination with lots of adventure. I wondered if you could talk a bit about that adventure that visitors can have in Sarawak.
Oh yeah, adventure. This is another thing. I think you'll be watching a video after this. We have the hard adventure and we also have the soft adventure. Yeah, starting from mountain biking, caving, trekking. You're gonna love. Those who love this will just love the place. By just watching the video, you can feel it. We also have the soft adventure, which is the kayaking, river safari, diving, and all that. And that in itself is also with great waterfalls, with great diving areas that we have up north in Sarawak. You'll see great things. Those who are into all this, into these diving areas. And the other thing I like to talk about, although this is very much into nature, but we have something that I think the audience would not want to miss, which is watching, like I said earlier, the bat observatory at the Gunung Mulu. You'll be in awe. When I went there, you'll be in awe to see thousands of this bat coming in. You can't imagine it, Madeline. You have to be here to see it and experience it. And it's, to me, you can't find it anywhere but in Mulu and in Sarawak. So, I am more than happy. I think after this, you'll see a video of Sarawak caving, and that gives you a glimpse of what Sarawak has to offer. Yeah?
Yes, absolutely. So let's take a closer look at Sarawak's adventures in this short video.
For years of traveling, I finally found heaven on earth. From nature reserves to breathtaking waterfalls, there's no other like the beauty of Sarawak. Ready to be captivated? Time to explore fun and unique adventures together with us.
Fantastic. Those adventures in Sarawak look absolutely amazing, and I'm sure
you gotta come, Madeline. You haven't been here, right?
I haven't. No, I definitely want to now, though.
Okay, good.
Cool. So I just wondered if you could talk a little bit more about the wildlife experiences that people can have in Sarawak.
Yes, I can. You want me? Okay. You want me to say it now? Okay. So basically, when you talk about nature and wildlife, again, we are one of the states that has the richest and most diverse ecosystem, and we're the home to the oldest national park, in Sarawak, Bako National Park. So like I said earlier, Sarawak is known for its nature and its adventure, and the wildlife is like, we have about 65 bird species, and 60 of those are endemic to Borneo. Can you imagine that? If you're a birding person, you love it here, and you have about 230 over species of land mammals that you can that is available in Borneo, and you can see some of that in Gunung Mulu, and of course in Bako National Park itself. So you have heard of the proboscis, the monkey, with a big nose, and then you have the leaf-eating monkeys, the langur and the maroon langur that is also known to us, and we also have basically the rafflesia for the nature as the big flower that you can find in Sarawak, and it's as big as over a meter in diameter. Can you imagine that? And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it is always the blooming season is around November, December, and January. So it's a good time, although it's also a monsoon season time, but climate changes these days, and it's unpredictable these days. But don't miss it, because even Sarawakian hasn't seen it, mind you. So imagine, if you have that opportunity, it is a moment that you will always remember. Okay?
Absolutely. Okay, and I know one of the other pillars is food, and that's going to be a huge draw for any UK visitor. Obviously, we're massive foodies. So I just wondered if what Sarawak's kind of must-do activities or attractions are for people who do want to experience the food.
Okay, so with 27 ethnic groups that we have, you can imagine the diversity and the variety that we have. Yeah, I'm quite sure if you remember the late Anthony Bourdain, he said, that Sarawak laksa, which is a noodle food, it's a noodle. Yeah, basically he said that this dish is the breakfast of the gods. So for late Anthony Bourdain to say that, I think if I remember correctly, I even read an article that says he ate over 20 bowls of the Sarawak laksa, at one time, at one sitting. Yeah, that's huge and a lot. Okay, and that's how much he loves the food. So I think he vouched about Sarawak laksa. That's a must that you eat. If you love vegetables, we have these special ferns that can only be found in Sarawak, and this is cooked with the prawn paste and so forth, and it's something very unique for Sarawak. And we also have this chicken bamboo, which is also very popular and also can be found in Sarawak. So, but I don't know if you remember and if you've seen it in this program, the Great British Bake Off program. And in 2019, they actually showed the layered cakes, okay? And that layered cake is the signature of Sarawak dessert and all that, so something that is very nice to bring back also, and it's something unique of Sarawak. So anyone who comes to Sarawak, there will be boxes of that back home, as part of their dessert, and it's very yummy. And it's very nice too, and very it's a different thing. So I hope if I will talk about foods, there's a long list that I have to share with you. But I think these 3 signature things that I've mentioned will be sufficient enough, and I hope entice you to come to Sarawak.
Yeah, it's definitely making me hungry hear about all of that. Cool. And the 5th pillar is festivals, as you mentioned. So I wondered if visitors want to tie in their trip to a festival, what options do they have?
Okay, so basically the festival, we have more than 100 events and festivals, in Sarawak. But because I think very appropriately during the summer holidays, this is when we have our iconic events. The Borneo Jazz Festival, as well as the Rainforest World Music Festival. Rainforest World Music Festival has been going around 24 years. Next year will be our 25th year, and this is something I think a lot of people, we had about 80 countries in our last virtual event where people logged in and view our virtual rainforest. And normally we have a lot of foreigners coming during that time to enjoy our Rainforest World Music Festival. So I think that is something that you should not miss, and it falls during the summer holidays. And of course you need to make bookings early, because that's the peak season for Sarawak. Yeah. And I think what's most important also is that we also have an event what we call Regatta Festival. Yeah, This is another fantastic event, but that falls under in the month of September, sometime in September, yeah. And I hope that this is another international event where you see a lot of international participants in this festival. So we have a whole list. We have a calendar of events. For those FITs who wants to come, not just during the summer holidays. It's always published, and it's going to be on our website, on a yearly basis. Right now, we are now compiling all the events. Hopefully, we can do something that's physical next year onwards. And it will be on our website, Sarawak Tourism website. Okay?
Great, thank you. So before we wrap up, Shahzad, is there anything else agents should know about selling or visiting Sarawak right now at the moment?
Well, selling Sarawak, I think the first and foremost, I would like to say it's summer year, the whole year round. There's no 4 seasons here. For those who love the sun, is here, come to Sarawak because you get summer all year round. I like to indicate and to inform the agents there, please have all the confidence to come to Sarawak. We are one of the first states, that has even the teenager to be vaccinated. It started last week. We have a high percentage of adults being vaccinated. Our government is now in the midst of looking into preparation of the requirement and guidelines for tourists to come in when the borders are open with e-passport and so forth. That is being looked in by the state government and by the ministry. But I like to tell you that Sarawak is one of the states that actually start with proper applications and all to do tracing, tracking, and all that, and testing. And I'm very proud being a Sarawakian. We have a state government that looks into all this seriously and very committed. And we are very confident that we will reach that herd immunity in no time, and that the 14 days quarantine will be uplifted, and that endemic stage will be announced pretty soon. So we have that confidence. We are very concerned for the safety of our people as well as for the travelers. So I like to give that assurance to agents out there that you shouldn't worry too much, because we are as conscious as you are on the safety of all our people. Yeah, and I like to also state that in view of the pandemic that's going on, we move towards slow tourism. We never go into mass tourism. So, you're looking not at crowded places. There's a lot of space, there are a lot of areas that, people do not feel congested and so forth. And national parks looks into carrying capacity management. So I feel, if you enjoy all this, and you can be assured in terms of that safety net and the hygiene factor if you visit Sarawak. That's something that I would like to assure our agents overseas to come to Sarawak and not to worry about those pandemic and all that. Okay?
Lovely. Thank you very much. And Dan, is there anything else agents should know about selling Malaysia Airlines right now? Are you running any booking incentives or got any offers that you want to tell them about?
Sure. That was a great update, by the way. And as I look out of my window, it's pouring with rain, it's grey, and I'm sensing the smells of the food and the nature and the beaches of Sarawak, and it just makes me want to book. So I think I would just, as we get to the winter here in the UK, we see less daylight, we see less sunshine, and the thought of a lovely trip to Malaysia is just wonderful. So I'd encourage all the agents out there, look at the resources that are online, process what we've talked about today, have a look and start planning and sell this to your clients. We've got a special offer at Malaysia Airlines at the moment. It's selling until the 20th of October. So there are discounted fares that are out in the market that are open, available through the trade or through consolidators, to help make the trip even more cost effective to get to Malaysia. So, I hope you're inspired and you've enjoyed what you've heard today. And from Malaysia Airlines, thank you for listening. We very much look forward to welcoming you on board with our warm Malaysian hospitality. and hope to see you in Malaysia soon. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Shazad, as well. Thank you for coming on to chat today. That's about all we've got time for, I'm afraid. So sadly wrap up. And thank you again to the both of you for joining and sharing your insights. Thank you to the viewers for tuning in. Please do check out the training hub on tgmedia.com for more educational content. And we hope to be going back to Malaysia soon with Malaysia Airlines. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.